What a moment you're all going to get to see today. President Obama is going to meet with the man who spent so much time trying to convince the country that he was illegitimate and is now president-elect of the United States, Donald Trump. But a lot of that's going to be optics and pageantry, this transition of power. It has to happen, and this is the process. The question is, who are the people who are going to populate these power positions? Let's look at some of the names being eyed with Ellis Henican, a political analyst and best-selling author. Good to see you, my friend. Good morning. All right. So, you know what? Let's skip. We have the Loyalists, okay? We have the Loyalists.
Because loyalty counts here.
Loyalty counts, especially with Trump, and these guys are going to be asked to do different things. But I want to skip for a second.
Okay.
To this man.
Ooh.
And here's why. Big name, right? Early guy to jump in. A lot of controversy. Chris Christie going to kiss the ring before anybody else did. But all this talk about him, can he survive a vetting process?
Well, you know what? Maybe not. I mean, first of all, he's hugely unpopular at home, right? I mean, he's in the middle of this Bridgegate scandal.
The Bridgegate thing would be it.
Right. And you did notice, by the way, that the last 3 weeks, month of the campaign, he was pretty scarce, wasn't he? We didn't see a lot of Chris Christie in public.
Now, people will say, well, the GOP's in control of the confirmation process. So how bad can it be? But the question is, do they want, with their drain the swamp talk, you know, who knows whether he follows through on it at all, to have someone who is caught up in some swampy business?
I mean, is that alligator number one if you want to drain the swamp?
So do you think that he winds up tapping him for a big post that requires confirmation?
You know what? I put him in the White House first. I think it's a lot easier to find some job. There are a lot of big jobs that don't
on the political side, don't need the same vetting.
I'm not saying chief of staff, but I mean some other important political director.
Does Chris Christie take that? Does he take a behind-the-scenes job?
I don't think he's got a lot of choice at this point. I mean, he's not going to run for another office, and I think he wants to be relevant.
All right, so let's talk about these cats. These are the Loyalists.
Yep.
First up, Rudy Giuliani. Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's being talked about as AG
Attorney
or Homeland
General.
Security. What do you think?
I think he would take it in a minute. The only question is, does he need any more money? He's making a lot of money right now, but I think Rudy likes the spotlight.
You do?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's worked very hard to build his businesses.
I know.
He spends a lot of time traveling around. He loves his wife. He loves to be with her. That job takes you out of pocket.
That is true, but listen, you've been around Rudy a long time. He likes the spotlight, Christopher.
All right. Newt Gingrich. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you in the face that hard, Newt. I hit him so hard he won't even look at me now. Let's try
There
this.
you go.
There we go. So, Secretary of State. Chief of Staff, I think, is underselling Newt.
I don't think so. I think he would take that in a minute. To me, he feels more in the senior statesman category at this point. It's been a long time since Newt's really been in it.
All right, now, Ben Carson.
Yeah.
Education Secretary. Is he in any way qualified for that job?
No, maybe Surgeon General?
You think that? Well, they're having him as HHS. Do you think that Ben Carson makes the cut for someone who's going to have that kind of executive authority over the operations of government?
You know, I would doubt it on Ben. I'm not putting. He's a little bit of a loose cannon. Who knows where his views really align with Trump's?
All right, one more from this group of political guys, right? Jeff Sessions.
Right.
I think, you know, he was with him early. He's a senator, but this is a serious job. Defense Secretary, you got to have the right person in there. He'd be picking a political worker to go in there as defense secretary. That could work.
It could. I would bet on that one. Because first of all, he's a serious enough guy. He actually cares about those issues. And loyalty, again, it's all about the loyalty. And there aren't that many people, Chris, who are loyal as long and as thoroughly as someone like Jeff Sessions.
And it is a good education for those folks at home. In politics, you think, well, they'll do this the same way they do any job interviews. Not true. Loyalty counts most. You have to know that this person will stay on message. They will not stick it in your back the first chance they have. They will defend you when you're weak. That's a small population. All right, we got 90 seconds left. Let's jump to the private sector.
Yep.
This was part of the sell for Trump. All the best guys are my friends and will come for me. This is a pretty short list of big names.
I was going to say, where are all the big
Well, the big shot is Carl Icahn.
That's right. He's big, but he's not going to go into the administration.
Why not?
I mean, maybe in some ceremonial role, head some kind of commission or something, but you really think he's going to be the Treasury Secretary or the...
Well, why wouldn't he do it? Would it be any of the vetting? Hey, we want to see a lot of information about you.
You know,
or is it just that you think it's beneath him in some way?
Well, and where he is in life. I didn't look up his age, but I mean, Carl Icahn's, he's up there, isn't he?
All right. Well, I mean, he's pretty active, though. His business is killing it.
No doubt.
So, Lucas Oil, Forrest Lucas, Interior Secretary. Now, that's actually a more important post than people think. You know?
And a lot of complex regulatory stuff stuff involving in that. But, out of the oil industry, and that's a broader company, by the way, not just an oil company, a lot of service-related stuff. So, I think that's a credible choice. He's a business guy who's been with him all along. He's got some credibility in the private sector. And listen, why be a businessman president unless you're going to put some titans in
Right, and that's where Mnuchin, it's interesting. He came in very controversial as a big shot at Goldman Sachs.
Right.
And a lot of the bankers didn't want to help Trump. So he's going to be rewarded if he wants it.
Right. And to the extent that there was a fundraising operation there,
he was on it.
Deeply involved in that.
Ellis Henican, thank you very much.
It's going to be really interesting.
This is an interesting parlor game, and it also shows, Allison, inside the mind and thinking of who Trump wants means what type of personality he wants for his government as well.